Thank you, child. You have no idea what this means to me.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Marry me and make me the happiest man alive, Maya.
Yes, I will marry you.
We're getting ahead of ourselves. Maya had been invisible for almost a year. Not in the literal sense, she showed up every morning at Soline and Company, the most exclusive jewelry house in downtown Charlotte. She dusted the cases, arranged the gemstone trays, smiled at customers who looked straight through her. But her supervisor, Renata, had made the rules clear from day one. Maya wasn't there to sell. She was there to fetch dry cleaning, restock the vault, run whatever errand Renata didn't want to handle herself. And on the rare occasion Maya closed a sale anyway, Renata always found a reason to reroute the commission to one of the senior associates. A clerical mix-up. A reassigned client. Some excuse that fit the day. The senior staff had a nickname for her. The Shadow. She knew about it. She stayed anyway. Rent doesn't care about dignity. That Thursday started like any other. Slow. Quiet. A little degrading. Maya was straightening a case of sapphire rings when the door chimed. An elderly woman stepped inside. She moved slowly, carefully, the way bodies move once they've carried too many years. Her cardigan was thread-worn. Her shoes had seen better decades. A scarf covered most of her gray hair. She looked like she'd ridden 2 buses just to stand in that doorway and wasn't entirely sure she'd gotten off at the right stop. The senior associates traded glances. One of them, Devon, intercepted her before she made it 3 steps in. "Can I help you with something?" Polite words. Cold delivery. "I'm just looking, dear," the woman said. That's when Renata emerged from the back office, heels announcing her before her face did. Before we dive deeper, let us know in the comments where you're watching from, we'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. Renata looked the old woman over the way you'd inspect something you were deciding whether to throw out. "Ma'am, this isn't really that kind of store. We cater to a different clientele." Her smile was surgical. "There's a Walmart 2 blocks over." A few quiet laughs rippled through the room. Something in Maya's chest pulled tight. She set down the velvet tray, crossed the floor, and gently rested a hand on the woman's arm. "Can I bring you some water while you look around?" The room went still in a different way now. The old woman turned and studied Maya like she hadn't expected this from anyone, like kindness was a language she'd nearly forgotten the sound of. "That would be lovely," she said. Maya brought her a glass of water, found her a seat by the window, and sat beside her, ignoring the stares. "No rush. Take your time." The woman's hand settled over Maya's. Soft. Papery. Carrying decades in every line. "You'll be rewarded for this," she said quietly. "Hold on to that." Maya didn't know why the words landed the way they did. She just nodded. Then the woman sat up straighter and said something that cracked the whole afternoon open. "I'd like to see your finest pieces. 8 complete collections, necklace, earrings, bracelet, ring." Maya blinked. 8. "Your very best." She spent the next 40 minutes pulling trays, matching stones, double-checking settings, moving with the kind of care she always brought to things that actually mattered to her. The senior staff watched from across the room like they were at a sideshow. "She's really doing this," Devon murmured. "Let her," someone whispered back. "It'll be more entertaining when it collapses." Renata stood with her arms folded, wearing the smile Maya had come to despise. When Maya finished laying out the final selection, 8 full collections, each one more breathtaking than the last, the old woman pressed her palms together. "I'll take every one." The room seemed to shift on its axis. Maya exhaled, fighting to keep her composure. "That comes to $190,000. Silence. Then laughter, sharp, unkind. "Are you serious right now?" Devon said, hand over her mouth. The woman patted her cardigan pockets, checked a small purse, looked up with an apologetic sigh. "I don't have my card with me, dear. My grandson keeps it. I'll just need to call him." The laughter doubled. No longer hidden. Renata stepped forward slowly, savoring the walk. She stopped close enough that Maya caught her perfume. You actually believed she could afford any of this? Not a question. Maya turned to the woman. It's all right. No need to feel bad. I don't feel bad, dear, the woman said, calm and clear-eyed. My grandson is coming. I just need a little time. Time. Renata laughed. Sweetheart, you don't have a grandson sitting on $190,000. And if you did, he certainly wouldn't be picking you up from a jewelry store in those shoes. She gestured toward the exit. Someone walk her out. The old woman rose slowly. No tears, no rush. She looked at Renata for a long beat. Then she looked at Maya. Maya reached into her bag, her last $20, the emergency bill she'd been carrying for weeks, and pressed it into the woman's palm. For a taxi. Please. The woman stared at the bill, then closed her fingers around it. When she lifted her eyes, they were glassy. You are a rare kind of person, Maya. Renata's voice sliced through the moment. That's enough. You dragged a vagrant into my store, burned an hour of company time, and now you're handing out cash like this is a soup kitchen. Get your things. You're done here. Maya picked up her bag. No tears. No argument. She walked out into the Charlotte afternoon and stood on the curb, squinting into the sun, unemployed, broke, with no plan at all. She had no idea what the old woman was about to do. The estate sat 35 minutes outside the city. The cab driver fell silent as they approached the gates, glancing repeatedly in the mirror. Inside, marble floors, original artwork, the kind of quiet that only old money can buy. Julian stood in the center of the great room when she walked in. 31 years old. Founder and CEO of Ashford Capital, one of the largest investment firms in the Carolinas. Tall, composed, the kind of stillness that suggested he was always 3 steps ahead. Grandmother. His tone shifted instantly. Where on earth have you been? She told him everything. The store. The associates. Renata. And Maya, the one who brought her water, sat with her, handed over her last $20 without knowing whose hand she was filling. By the time she finished, his jaw had set like stone. Which location? Soline and Company. He was already pulling out his phone. That's one of our portfolio companies. His grandmother lifted a finger. The girl. First. The security footage played for 5 minutes. Julian watched it twice in total silence, then sat back, eyes locked on the screen, unmoving. He had sat through thousands of hours of quarterly reports, pitch decks, due diligence calls. He had never watched a stranger give away her last $20. Find her, he said. Maya was on a park bench scrolling job boards she couldn't afford to be picky about when a dark sedan pulled to the curb. The window lowered. A man in a tailored suit looked out. Ms. Maya. She stood. Who's asking? Theo. I work for Julian Ashford, CEO of Ashford Capital. The woman you helped today is his grandmother. He'd like to meet you. Maya recognized the name immediately, everyone in Charlotte did. Ashford Capital had its name on half the skyline. And her stomach dropped, Soline and Company was theirs too. She'd just been fired from a store owned by the very family she'd helped. This had to be a setup. She got in anyway. The house did something strange to her. Not the scale of it, not the art, it was the stillness, like nothing chaotic had ever been allowed inside. Then she saw him at the top of the staircase. She'd seen his face in business magazines, but photos hadn't captured the weight he carried in person, like rooms rearranged themselves around him. Maya. I'm Julian. I know who you are, she said, immediately wishing she hadn't. His grandmother appeared from a hallway, arms wide. You came. Something in Maya unclenched. You actually live here? I do. The old woman laughed, squeezing her hands. Not quite the charity case I looked like, am I? Julian watched the exchange. His expression rarely moved, but something flickered there. His grandmother turned to him. She's the one. Maya laughed nervously. We just met. She looked to Julian to share the joke. He wasn't joining in. He was simply watching her, steady, unreadable, serious. Her pulse did something she hadn't approved. She stayed for 2 nights. Then a week. She kept meaning to leave, but the grandmother kept inventing reasons to keep her around. Eventually Julian offered her a position, executive assistant at Ashford Capital, full salary, full benefits, reporting directly to him. She turned it down. Why? He asked. Because I don't want to feel like I owe you. And I don't want people assuming I got this because of who you are. He studied her. You'd be passing on the best paid EA role at the firm. I know. A pause. Fine. Earn it. Interview with my HR director tomorrow. No shortcuts. She arrived at 8 a.m. She left at noon. She got the job. She didn't cross paths with Selena until her 4th day. Selena arrived the way certain women always do in these stories, immaculately dressed, heels striking the floor like punctuation, radiating an instant, practiced hostility. She was a managing director at the firm. Her name had floated around Julian's in gossip blogs for over a year. She looked at Maya exactly the way Renata had looked at the old woman in the store. Maya felt the familiarity of it settle over her like a cold draft. And who are you? Julian's new EA. Selena's smile didn't touch her eyes. How fitting. It began quietly. A comment here. A rumor there. Within 2 weeks, half the office believed Maya had manipulated her way into the position, that she'd targeted the grandmother on purpose, that she was running a long con. Maya said nothing. She arrived early, stayed late, did the work. Julian caught wind of the rumors on day 12. He called an all-staff meeting, stood at the head of the room, and let the silence settle before speaking. Maya earned her role through a process HR can verify for anyone who asks. She is also the person who handed my grandmother her last $20 while a room full of strangers laughed at her. He paused. If anyone has an issue with that, bring it to me. Otherwise, this conversation is finished. No one spoke. Selena's expression hardened into something unreadable. Maya sat motionless, feeling, for the first time in a long while, protected. It still wasn't over. Selena had one move left, and she made it. She went to Julian's mother. Diane Ashford flew in from Savannah 2 days later, poised, deliberate, certain she could size up anyone within half a minute. She looked at Maya and saw a threat. That evening, she showed up at Maya's apartment, sat across from her, and set a check on the table. $450,000. Walk away, Diane said. Not the job, my son's life entirely. Take this, start fresh somewhere far from here. I'll handle the rest. Maya looked at the check for a long moment. Then she picked it up and tore it cleanly in half. I'm in love with your son, she said. I never meant for it to happen, but it did. And I won't take a payout to abandon something real. Diane stared at her for a long, evaluating silence. Then she rose, straightened her coat, and left without a word. The setup came from Selena. A missing bracelet, $35,000 worth, discovered in Maya's desk by the overnight cleaning staff. Conveniently, on the one night Selena had stayed in the building after everyone else left. The call came Friday afternoon. Security at her door. Theo on the line. Come in right away. She walked into the Ashford Capital lobby and felt every eye land on her. Diane was there. Selena stood with arms crossed, face arranged into manufactured concern. Someone from legal hovered nearby. We found the bracelet, Maya, Selena said softly. I'm so sorry. The floor seemed to tilt beneath her. She thought of every version of this exact moment she'd already survived, the jewelry store, the part-time jobs in college, every room that had decided she didn't belong before she said a word. She thought about walking straight back out. Then Julian walked in. He didn't look at Selena. He didn't look at his mother. He looked only at Maya. Everyone, clear the room. He'd already pulled the footage the night before, when something hadn't sat right with him. Selena, 11:50 p.m., entering Maya's office. Selena, 11:54 p.m., leaving. the bracelet appearing in the drawer in between. He played it for the room 20 minutes later, his mother, legal, the senior team, all of them. Selena's face drained. That's, the camera angle doesn't actually show. Selena. Stop. Security escorted her out. Diane found Maya sitting alone in the estate's garden that evening. She sat down beside her, uninvited. They stayed quiet for a while. I misjudged you, Diane said eventually. I've been wrong before, it just doesn't happen often, so I'm out of practice admitting it. A pause. I tried to push you out because I was afraid of what you represented. I understand that now. Maya looked at her. My son loves you, Diane said. That should have mattered to me from the very beginning. He proposed on an ordinary Thursday. No spectacle, no audience, just the two of them on the rooftop terrace at dusk, the city glowing gold beneath them, a small box in his hand. You gave a complete stranger your last $20, he said. And then you turned down nearly $500,000 to stay. I've never known anyone like you. He opened the box. I don't want to imagine a future without you in it. She said yes before he finished the sentence. 5 months later, Renata learned the news the way the whole city did. The engagement hit the local papers. Julian Ashford, CEO of Ashford Capital, engaged to Maya. That Maya. Renata was behind the counter at Solene and Company when her phone buzzed. She read the headline twice. Set the phone down. Picked it back up. Read it a third time. Then a second notification arrived. Ashford Capital had completed an internal review of management practices at Solene and Company. Effective immediately, the store manager position was vacant. She'd been let go by the men whose grandmother she'd once thrown out the door. The showroom went quiet. Everyone remembered what the old woman had said on her way out. Kindness is worth more than every diamond in this case. No one had believed her. A year after the wedding, Maya launched the Bridge Fund, a nonprofit pairing people in career transitions with paid apprenticeships in trades and small business. At the opening, she stood before a packed room and said, I know what it feels like to be dismissed before I've even spoken. I wanted to build the place where that stops. In the front row sat Julian's grandmother, still wearing a worn scarf, clapping louder than anyone else in the room. Beside her, Diane, now someone Maya genuinely trusted. And beside Diane, Julian, watching his wife the way you watch the most important person in any room. Because she was. The old woman had recognized it the moment Maya pressed that $20 bill into her hand. Some people reveal exactly who they are in the moments they think no one is watching. That's the only moment that actually counts.